let's talk about the game tomorrow. FA Cup replay that we really could do without. Let's be honest. What's your thoughts going into that? I mean, this is a game that we should be trying to win, but Villa have got a really good record at Villa Park, and they do tend to give us a really good game there as well. So, what's your thoughts going into it?
Yeah, I do think we need to play our strongest 11, especially when we've got our next game. I think it's on Monday night against
Yeah,
Palace. So they'll have time to recover. Even the recovery at Chelsea, probably they just want to go straight home. They don't want to be doing time on the bike or in the hydro tanks or swimming pools. They just want to be back home. So yeah, but yeah, it's a really important game. Like I said, if we can still go on a good cup run in the FA Cup, it could still salvage something for our season and make it from a shit season into a decent season.
yeah,
Like we spoke about with the Carabao Cup, it's still silverware. It's still one of the oldest cup competitions in the world. So I think there's a lot of value in that tournament, and there's also a semi-final at Wembley, perhaps, and a final at Wembley on the cards, which is always good for the fans. Um, but yeah, Villa, like you said, they've been fantastic. And it's a game we could have maybe done without. There were opportunities in the first game at Stamford Bridge Friday a week ago, I believe. Um, we could have won it. I feel like Emiliano Martinez pulled some great saves, and then in the
yeah.
second half, Villa could have won it, where Petrovic pulled off some brilliant saves. So it was very a very even game, very 50-50, I felt. But you just do think Villa will have the upper hand at Villa Park. Like you said, they got a fantastic record there. They got an amazing coach in Unai Emery, and also they've just come on the back end of a great win against Sheffield, where I think every football fan after that first half thought it was going to end maybe 8 or 9-0. So they're going to be in red hot form coming into this game. If they start players like Watkins, DRB, Leon Bailey, Douglas Luiz,
Yep.
they're gonna score goals, and they're gonna score. They're probably gonna win it. So I'm not entirely confident. But I think if these players want to show any kind of fight, desire, or also if they actually believe that they want to play for Pochettino and they want to help Pochettino secure his job, that this is the game they need to do it in. And if I think it'll be very telling by their body language, not just throughout the game, but in that first half as well. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how things plan out.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think for me, Pochettino, there's no excuses now. I think I said at the start of the season, one game a week is probably perfect for Pochettino to come in, understand, albeit, yes, we've had injuries, but to get some sort of structure and organization back in his team, get them playing as well as we can be. And then obviously you integrate your injured players, or you take some players out or whatever, but your spine of your team, you should understand that. Like I said at the very start of this, you should have one or two key players that you want to build the team around, and everything else should fall into place. And we still haven't got that. So this for me now is a big game, and I do agree that we should be playing the strongest 11 because we don't have a game till Monday. I mean, we did, we should be able to deal with one game a week with this squad. We have a relatively big squad, a half decent bench, a team that should be able to beat Wolves and should be able to cope with Aston Villa at Villa Park, regardless of their form. I do agree with you. It worries me to think about Bailey, Douglas Luiz, Ollie Watkins, another one as well. I think their defense has been really good this season for Villa. But we've got no choices but to leave everything on that pitch. Everything has to be dealt with on that pitch, and we can't. If we go 1-0 down, we can't let our heads drop. That's two games back to back. You mentioned it against Wolves. I said the same thing about Liverpool when we didn't get that penalty for Conor Gallagher. Heads dropped, morale changed, attitude changed. Can't allow that to happen. And one place you don't want to let that happen is Villa Park, because the crowd is the 12th man. The very, very vocal fans there. They make it loud, intimidating. So it isn't going to be an easy game at all. And yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting who you've gone for, which I already know, but for the listeners, which I'll put on the screen now. So if you just want to go through your 11.
Yeah, so you actually mentioned it, I think, on the previous recording prior to the Wolves game, that a change of formation I feel was needed. And I kind of said I'd wait until after the Wolves game. And then now there's news coming out that Pochettino is considering a change of tactics and formation to kind of switch things up. So I think this game, I think we might see the return of a back three with the fullbacks or the wing backs So I'm going with Petrovic as the keeper. I think Sanchez is slowly coming back into training, but I
Yeah.
think he won't be fit. There's no news about him being back in the squad anytime soon. So Petrovic, I've gone with a back three of Colwill, Silva, and Disasi. And this is only if Colwill is fit. He
Yeah.
wasn't on the list of injuries prior to the Wolves game, but wasn't on the bench either, which was a bit odd, I thought. So yeah, I think this is a game for him. If he's fit, he needs to start. And I don't trust Bajashil quite yet. I don't think his head's quite with it, given the kind of series of mistakes he's made against Liverpool, and then prior to Christmas, Wolves and Newcastle. And then my fullbacks or wing backs, I've gone with Gusto and Chilwell. I feel like they offer a lot going forward, and we saw that at times against Wolves, and they were struggling to track back. So I think this role could give them a bit more flexibility going further up the pitch. Double pivot in midfield of Gallagher and Enzo. I feel like Caicedo, sure, he was fantastic with that assist against Wolves, but I think other than that, he was probably one of the worst players on the pitch. I felt against Wolves, so he might need to be dropped. And then I'm going to Chukwuemeka just ahead of them, and then Nkuku and Jackson.
Jackson. Yeah.
And I know that front three is very, very offensive, so it could kind of be switched. I think Chukwuemeka could maybe play a bit more deep and kind of allow Nkuku and Jackson more freedom up front. Or on the contrary, it could be two midfielders with a front three of Chukwuemeka, Nkuku, and Jackson, with Nkuku and Chukwuemeka more as the wing type of players. I don't think I want to see Mudryk anywhere near that lineup. And I think Sterling, after his performances against Liverpool and Wolves, deserves to be dropped as well. So yeah, that's my starting 11.
Yeah, it's interesting. Part of me does want to see three centre backs and the wing backs. I think that approach for me would be the best thing. I think if we can get that, we shouldn't have to. I think for me, the worry is if it doesn't work and we don't utilise that space down the wings. I think that for me would say how much trouble we're actually in as a team, because when you play three at the back and you've got the wing backs, you have to be offensively better. You have to be able to get that ball in the box and then take your chances. So I think if we still can't do that and we're playing three centre backs, or we're still conceding 4 goals and we've got 3 centre backs on the pitch, massive alarm bells would be ringing, because we shouldn't be. We should not be conceding more than 2 goals, because Silva now has that added comfortable addition of another centre back to play alongside as well. And also you have your 2 wing backs that are also going to be filling in, doing their defensive duties also, as well as the attacking one. So for me, we should not be conceding 4 goals or even 3 goals. I don't want to see that. So I've gone for slightly different to you, only very slightly different. So I've gone for same as you, the same formation, but I've just gone for Petrovic in goal, who I think, for me, I'm still saying is our first choice, regardless of Sanchez, whether he comes back. And when he comes back, I'd still continue. I know he let 4 goals in, but I think Petrovic shows me a bit more. I'm still very hesitant to receive the ball to feet, but I think that will come with time when he gets more comfortable with his defensive line. But I've gone for very, very exactly the same as you. Gusto, right back, right wing back, Disasi, Silva, and Colwill as my 3 centre backs. If Colwell's fit. Ben Chilwell's left wing back. I have gone for Enzo and Moises Caicedo as the double pivot, and the reason I've gone for that is because I think we have to play what we say is our strongest team. We still have to say Caicedo, albeit he didn't have a good game against Wolves, but he's still the partner to Enzo that you think will possibly continue to play that role throughout the remainder of this season. So I think I've gone for those 2. I've gone for Conor Gallagher just ahead of them. Very harsh on Carney Chukwuemeka, because I feel like he does need a role to play in here, and obviously coming back to Aston Villa as well, a team that he used to play for, I think would be really good for him to kind of get some more minutes and give a good performance for. But I think I can't see Conor Gallagher being dropped by Maurizio Pochettino, someone that he's clearly come out and said is one of his favoured players in the team. So I've gone for Conor Gallagher, and then I've gone up top. I've gone for Cole Palmer and Christopher Nkunku. Yeah, I've gone for those 2 only because I feel Cole Palmer, obviously, he's the one that at the moment very in form, gives us options. I think could probably just play just behind Nkunku and leave a Nkunku up top, or he could probably fill in and they could play, two up front almost together with the two wing backs being exploited and try and give those balls into the box. But I just think we have to. I mean, Nicholas Jackson is a very good option, but again, I think I said last week or the week before, I always like a striker on the bench. I like an option of a striker on the bench in case you need that goal. And I think if we play Jackson and Nkunku, if we are in need of a goal and both of them or one of them gets injured, then we haven't really got anyone else we can sort of bring into that team. For me personally, maybe Washington, but he hasn't really played much games. So, is he really that good of a shout? Probably not. But that's the lineup I've gone with.
I'd have to actually agree now. I just think when I created my lineup, I don't know why Palmer completely escaped my mind.
The
I
best
think
player
when I was
so far for us this season.
I know. I think when I was creating the lineup, the back three, I feel like I forgot how the kind of formation
It
would
threw
pan
me
out.
off. I'll be honest, it threw me off
It
this
did.
morning
It
because
really did as well.
I was thinking, how do I want to line up my team? How do I want my formation to look? And I thought, well, maybe two up top would be the answer.
I think I'd have to agree with your lineup then. Drop Chukwuemeka and add in Palmer. Yeah, I think that would be my choice as well. Actually, looking back.
Yeah, and I do think Chukwuemeka does deserve, some more minutes, but he's come back from a big injury as well. It's a massive game for him to come into, but I think he'll get minutes. I think if Pochettino, the game's going in Pochettino's favour and we're winning, I think it'll be good to give him getting game time, build him back up, hopefully give him more game time against Palace as well, and just gradually build him back up because I think he's a really good addition to the squad, someone that we've got high expectations for. But as I say, that injury was massive. So I think to play him from the start would probably be, for me, would be a bit too much to ask of him. But it'd be good to see him back at Villa Park as well. And could he even get on the score sheet against his old club, which would be a bit of a sweet moment for him as well.
Yeah, and one thing that the Wolves game taught us as well is why did we loan out Broja? Because as good as Nkunku
and
is...
Maatsen as well.
And Maatsen, as good as Nkunku is, he looked completely isolated as the striker, the number 9. Whether that's his fault or the players around him, but it goes to show that we've got now Jackson as our only natural number 9 with David Washington on the bench. But yeah, the Nkunku false 9 experiment, I want to give it the benefit of the doubt because I think we will try it again a couple more times this season, especially if Jackson continues to underperform. But against Wolves, I could hardly remember Nkunku even touching the ball. It was kind of that type of game. Yeah, I think that's annoying as well. Kind of our January business. The 2 players we loaned out are 2 players that would kind of walk into our team right now.
But I think as well, kind of joined up to that is I think if we change our formation, I feel like we need to try and put the players that we want to hopefully see play the games more consistently in that team as well. Mm-hmm. So I think whether Nkunku's playing a 9 or he plays a 10 or he plays a different role in the formation, I think he has to be included. But I do agree with you from what I got to see and from what I was told after the game against Wolves, he didn't have the best of games. But I feel like maybe change of formation might help that. As I say, with the wing backs, you'd think he might get a bit more service or there might be more pockets of space for him to get into. Might just work in his favour slightly, but I think we can only with trial and error the whole 18 months under Todd Bowley and Graham Potter, Maurizio Pochettino. So why not continue with that and then just see how we get on with it? But I do think it'd be good to see Nkunku, who for me when he's got the ball as well, he wants to. His aim is to score, and I like that about him.
Yeah, well, he kind of dismissed it because it was an embarrassing defeat to Liverpool, but his goal was actually really, really good.
Very, very good in terms of the quickness of his feet to get out that tight space as well. I think there's like 2 or 3 defenders around him, and he was quick to tricky with the feet and straight into goal. So we've been missing that. We've been missing someone with that, just a little bit of trickery, a little bit of spark to be able to do that. And me personally, as I said, we need someone to build the team around. It could be him. It could be him.
Yeah, honestly,
I don't know.
We signed him in the summer, and the game against Wolves on Sunday was only his second start for the club. The first one coming against Luton. So yeah, we need to see more of him. We need to build up his game time, his match fitness, and we just need to avoid him getting injured again because he is that player that's a good point. That's got a history of getting injured. So yeah, that's something we need to kind of keep a close eye on as well.
That is actually a good point. It's shocking that he's only started 2 games for us, and we've had him for the best part of what, 9 months?
Yeah, it's just, I think this time last year it was pretty much announced by Fabrizio that we'd signed him, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. So shocking stuff. But let's move on quickly before we wrap up to predictions for tomorrow's game. It's a big one. I can't remember who we get in the second round now. Not in the second round. It feels like the second round. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's the winner of if we beat Villa, we have to say it's a big
Yeah,
if.
if
We'd play the winner of Plymouth Leeds, I
that's it.
believe,
I was trying to think who it
at
was.
Stamford Bridge.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
would
yeah.
be at home at Stamford Bridge or Villa Park if
Not that
Villa
it
win.
makes a difference, to be fair. Let's be honest. I mean, we've won
No.
10 on the bounce. We were unbeaten, but and we played Plymouth. Was it season before last? I think.
Yeah. I think two seasons ago we played them in a similar round of the FA Cup and tight game. We only beat them in extra time,
Exactly.
2-1.
Yep.
Alonso and Azpilicueta on the score sheet,
Yeah.
and I believe Kepa saving a penalty
He
in
did.
injury time as
He
well.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good game. So yeah, I mean, predictions. Let's roll with it.
I think just Villa just look too strong at the moment, so I can't see us winning. I'm going to go 2-1 Aston Villa.
Yeah, I think I think we'll win 1-0. I think we'll win 1-0. The reason I say that is because I think as I said before, we've got no excuses. If we're playing a back five ultimately with the two wing backs, I just can't see us not creating those chances. And also defensively, we have to be better. We have to be better as a defensive unit. We can't be leaking goals, being sloppy at the back, lapse of concentration. It can't happen. We've got 3 centre backs that should be able to deal with whichever formation Unai Emery goes with for Villa. But I'm going to go 1-0 again. I'm not going to go for a scorer because it could be anyone. Likelihood it's going to be Palmer, but or it should be Palmer. But yeah, I just want us to get through the next round. As I said, Pochettino for me has 4 games to save his managerial career at Chelsea, but he has to get a result tomorrow for me.
Quick look, question to end the podcast, but if Pochettino loses tomorrow to Villa, doesn't get a result against Palace, and probably loses to City, which is expected given the kind of levels in the squads, do you sack him before the League Cup final, or do you wait afterwards?
You'd have to wait because I feel. Isn't that what happened at? Oh, that was Mourinho at Spurs, wasn't it?
Mourinho, and he was saying it's his biggest regret was being not being given the League Cup
opportunity.
final.
Didn't they give it to was it Ryan Mason?
Ryan Mason. Yeah, I think they only lost that game 1-0.
Yeah,
but when they didn't look too shabby.
With Jose in charge, they would have won that. They would have had a trophy. I'm sure of it. But no, I think you've got to keep Pochettino in for the remainder of this month. I think he has to be. He's worked his way through some difficult games in the Carabao Cup to get to the final. I think it's only right you keep him there. Should we go on to lose that, especially if we lose in an embarrassing fashion as well against Liverpool, then I think his time for me would be done. I'm not saying. I think I said again last week. I'm not saying that him winning a Carabao Cup would be for me. Let's give him the job for the remainder of his contract. I feel that if we can win that Carabao Cup, it's a massive stepping stone to then go and build for the next couple of months, summer months as well. Have a good pre-season and then kickstart next season. But what about you? Would you?
I'm in agreement. I'd give him the rest of the month. And I actually secured my ticket to Wembley over the weekend, and I'm still hoping to see Pochettino in the dugout at Wembley. And also, you do wonder how quickly do we be able to get a replacement in? Should we fire him?
I don't think
they might
would.
be. We probably wouldn't. It'll be another kind of Bruno Salter situation where we get someone for like a couple of weeks, perhaps caretaker until we find a replacement. So yeah, it wouldn't make sense. I think the timing of it wouldn't make sense. I think he's going to be given at least the whole of February.
Yeah. I think it would mess up the team morale even more. I think if we sacked him before the final, someone else would probably come in. They'd rip again. All the planning and preparation that they'd probably be doing in the next couple of weeks for that final. To bring someone else in so short, for me, would be I would automatically think by default we're going to lose that game. So, so yeah, I would keep him, but he's got to win all 4. I know it's a big ask. I still want a good win and a good performance against City. Palace on Monday will be difficult, but I want us to go and win there as well. And like you said, the final for me, it's a gamble. Whoever wants it more on the day. So, Liverpool, yes, are playing better football, but we've proven before. you know, we took them to penalties twice in one season. We can do it again.
Definitely. I think the Crystal Palace game for me is almost bigger than this Villa one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure we'll do an episode before that. But yeah, I think the two or three or four next games for Pochettino, massive, absolutely massive.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also hit that Linktree link in the description. That will take you to the social accounts, so give those a follow as well. Theo, as always, thank you very much. Been a pleasure as always. And yeah, we'll be back next week, I think now, or maybe later on this week. Actually, might get 2 episodes in 1 week. We'll be back hopefully soon with another episode. Thanks for listening or watching. Enjoy the rest of your week.